Hello, Las Vegas. You're listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. My name is Mel Tiller. I am thrilled to be your host today, and my guest is the co-founder and co-director of MassLiberation. Her name is Leslie Turner. Leslie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I am thrilled to have you on the show. I actually was on a Zoom call with MassLiberation probably as long as a year ago and heard about the tremendous things that you all are doing in the community. I have great admiration for what your organization does. Tell our listeners exactly what MassLiberation does.
Hey, everybody. So, Mass Liberation Project Nevada started off as a project within a larger nonprofit called Plan, which, if you're from Las Vegas, then you know that organization. But we started off as a project within that was kind of incubated at a larger nonprofit. And then for the last 2 years, we've been out on our own as a standalone project doing the work. But ultimately, Mass Liberation Project, we started off really focused on mass incarceration and kind of like mass liberation being the opposite of what we're seeing happen in terms of the carceral state. So we were really focused on criminal justice reform, and that includes policy, that includes direct action, it includes mutual aid. We raised money, we bailed people out of jail, we paid for people's legal representation. We also do participatory defense.
Okay, so let's slow that down. You bail people out of jail.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so where does the money come from?
We raise the money in the community. So most of it comes from like online donations. And it's not just like we bail people out. So let me give a little context in that regard.
Okay.
So first of all, we only bail out people who we're in deep community with. So it's like people that come from our base, people who are referred, people's grandmas, people's wives and aunts. So like we don't go out and like find people to bail out. This is strictly like referrals. And a part of what we do is like we have to be in deep community with people. So it's not like we're not like a bail bondsman. We're not like some of these other organizations that simply post bail and then they may or may not assist you in getting back and forth to court. What we do is really about care first. It's a care first model, meaning that we talk to you, we build relationship with you while you're still on the inside. We work with your family on the outside, and we post bail. We raise the money through online donations. We post the bail, and when the person gets out, we really support them from the ground up. So we do participatory defense, which I mentioned earlier, is a community organizing model where we really support people in fighting their cases. So we do that. And then we also try to address the material conditions in their lives that contributed to the reason why they got caught up in the criminal justice system in the first place. So we work really very closely with them on life changes, not just getting to court, not just making sure you're tapping in with your probation officer, which is, obviously an important piece of this, but it's more so about like transformation. So we really are deep in their business and in their life and working with them. We've put people in jobs, put people in classes, training, help people move. We've done a lot of different things, but ultimately the goal is a care first model, which just basically means if people have what they need to thrive, then that likelihood of them getting tangled in the criminal justice system lessens and lessens and lessens. And ultimately, we can make the criminal justice system obsolete if communities just have what they need to thrive. So that is kind of the philosophy in which we embody. And we do it on a real person to person basis with the people that we bail out.
Outstanding. How do our listeners contact you?
The best way to get in contact with me is via email. So I could just say the email, or I
Sure.
don't know. Okay. All right. So Leslie, that's LESLIE at MassLiberationNV.com. So that's Mass, MASS, Liberation, LIBERATION, NV.com. So there's two N's in that handle. So yeah, that's the best way to get in contact with me is via email. You can also always find me on Facebook, Leslie Ann Turner. And if you DM me on Facebook, that's a really good way to get in contact with me. You can also direct message our Facebook page, Mass Liberation Project Nevada on Facebook. And then you can also find me on Instagram, where we have a Mass Liberation Instagram, which is just Mass Liberation. That is the handle. And then you can also find me on IG at Leslie at 1981. So that's LESLIEAT 1981.
Okay. How large is your group?
Well, what do you mean? Or do you mean like the size of the base? Do you mean the size of the staff? Like there's different.
How many people are on your staff? How many people are actually out there hands-on working with people?
So our staff, MassLiberation Project Nevada, is a staff of 6 people.
Wow.
So it's only 6 of us that are doing this work and have been doing this work. And we just recently made it to 6 staff. We were a staff of 4 for a long time. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of we make a lot of things move with a limited amount of people and a limited amount of funds. And also we get a lot of help obviously through our volunteer base, which is a base of about 600 people that we've been building over the last 6 years. So these are some people who've been rocking with us for the entire 6 years. And then we have some folks that are brand new. But, some of the work that we do is obviously supplemented and helped along by our volunteer base. And then I also just wanted to name that Mass Liberation Project Nevada is part of a national initiative. So there is a Mass Liberation Project, which is national. It's like I guess you could say like a home base.
Yes.
And within that kind of network are 13 organizations across the country that were all kind of like mass liberation organizations. So there is like Mass Liberation Project Arizona. There's, Life After Release in PG County, Maryland. There's Safe Return Project, which is in Richmond, California. There's Michigan Liberation, which is in Detroit. So we're all part of a cohort that we built this together 6 years ago. And we stay in community with each other. We support each other. We build together. We build strategy together. So I just also wanted to name that we're also, part of this larger network of organizations doing work on the ground.
Talk to me about your capacity. At any one time, how many people can you all help?
I think that we haven't really like quantified it that way. So it's difficult for me to kind of conceptualize that question. But I think like right now, in terms of numbers, like we have 30 cases that we're working on. Some of them are folks we bailed out. Some of them are folks that were already out and just fighting their cases. And some of them are post-conviction, meaning that they're already in prison and they're either in appeals or, another post-conviction process that we're assisting with. So through our participatory defense hub, which kind of feeds all of the different initiatives and projects, we're actively working on about 30 cases right now.
Is that normal? That sounds like a heavy caseload for 6 people.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much being a consistent um thing here in Clark County where people are always going to be in need. People are always reaching out for help. I think that we did have a uptick in cases and people needing assistance post pandemic, which I mean should be expected in terms of like how these type of events impact society. So I think this is pretty much standard, and at any given time, I mean, 3 or 4 people reach out for different types of assistance on a daily basis, because we do like mutual aid, but we also do bail, but we also do participatory defense. So, you know, people can reach out at different moments in whatever their process is or whatever they're going through. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a daily where at least between 3 and 5 people are reaching out for help with different things.
Let's switch up a little bit.
Mhm.
The legislature is in session and they are working on a bill called AB 286. Please explain that to us.
So AB 286 basically will codify process of people being detained in local detention centers, being able to exercise their right to vote during the election. And well, I mean, I'll start there and then I'll leave that open to you to kind of ask a question about.
All right. So a lot of people are looking at Bill 286. And it appears that once a person is in jail, they've been charged, they can't vote. 286 says that you might be in jail, but you're not in prison. It says that you might have been charged, but you have not been found guilty. And if you haven't been found guilty, and if you haven't been sent to prison, then you should be able to vote. Do I kind of have that
Well,
explained?
yeah, let me back it up a little bit though,
All right.
because actually right now, even without AB 286, anybody that's in jail, meaning they're still fighting their case, they have a high bail they can't afford, they're in processing, they have not been convicted yet and sentenced to prison yet, they have not lost their right to vote, period. So they're already voting. People have already been voting out of jails and prisons here. So, like, let's just be very clear about that point, because this is not something that we are creating. We're codifying something that already exists, meaning that we're having the law actually put it on the books, but these
Yes.
things are already happening from a policy standpoint. These things are already happening from a facility to facility standpoint. So CCDC, they're already voting in there. They already cast their we actually assisted, we partnered with CCDC in 2018 to process ballots, like not process them, but just coordinate with getting them to the elections department.
Okay.
They already put it on the kiosk inside of CCDC for incarcerated people to know that they could vote, to understand the process. And it's just like, you know, doing a mail-in ballot or any other thing like that where you're not at your normal residence. So they have not lost their right to vote. They already have their right to vote. And a lot of them are voting. The goal of AB 286 is to make it so that it is standardized across the state. If you are in a local facility, you can vote, and then it's on those. It's a mandate for those facilities to develop policy that you know, reflects the law, that allows for an actual process of being able to exercise your right to vote if you happen to be in a jail cell on, you know, voting day.
So, am I hearing you say that some people are following the law and others are not?
Well, no, because it's not the law yet. That's what AB 286 will do.
Okay.
So AB 286 will make it law so that if those processes or if that access to voting, I should say, is not provided, then now you're in violation of the law. But but there is nothing in the law currently that prevents a person from voting that is in a jail. Is simply access. It's simply the facility saying, hey, like, we have to figure out how we're going to do this, guys. And now this law will require them to do that. It will mandate them to do that, because some do, like CCDC and Henderson Jail, for instance, here locally, and some don't. So now they all will have to. That's kind of what AB 286 is going to do.
Great. So let's go back to some of the services that you all offer. How do you all offer these services? Do people come to your offices? Do people come to your offices, or do you go out to where they live? How does this work?
None of neither. So what happens is they reach out electronically via email, so they can reach out in the ways I explained earlier, which is social media, or they can just shoot an email. From there, we set up a conversation with them. It could be in person, but usually it's like a virtual discussion, and we try to really see like what's going on with that person and build community with the person. So sometimes they have a need that's not a need that we can assist with. So we might refer them out to somebody or brainstorm with the family on things that they can do. If it is something that we can assist with, for instance, they have, a case that they need help fighting, then we would funnel them into our participatory defense meetings, which are every Thursday at 6. And we would have them attend a meeting and start going through that process. So it just depends on what the ask is, but being very clear that it is mutual aid. So mutual aid requires reciprocity. So it's not charity. It's not you just come in and you get what you need and then you're gone. This is not a social services agency. This is not Catholic Charities or, Clark County Social Services. This is mutual aid. So that means you get and you give. It's reciprocal, meaning that, everything we do is powered by people who care, powered by volunteers. Like I shared earlier, we only have 6 people on staff. So a lot of the work that we do is donation based. So like, you got to put in work. If you're going to get help, you're going to give help. That's the way that we operate.
I really like that. What would you like our listeners to know about mass liberation?
I think mass liberation, I think it's important for folks to know that, when we talk about the work that we do is through like a Black liberation lens. We believe that liberation for all will come through the liberation of Black folks. So we are very unapologetically doing this work for Black liberation. And I think that it's also important to know that when we say Black liberation, it's not just through the criminal justice system. The criminal justice system is definitely one point of intervention that we take seriously and we do the work around. We do policy work. Like I said, we do mutual aid. We help people fight their cases. We help people raise money for legal fees and all types of things. But we also understand that, our liberation is also healing. Our liberation is also being reconnected to who we are, to concepts of community that are in our DNA. It's also learning about all of the history that that was kind of erased from us, that like actually we're the ones that created it. And a big part of the work we do is like reconnecting with our spiritual I guess you could say like our spiritual origins, and understanding African spirituality, understand like unlearning a lot of things around, African spirituality being demonic, and like, just those kind of things that come from white supremacy that were, that have created kind of an ontological terror in our minds, where we're scared of ourselves. We're scared of our own culture. We're scared of our own Blackness. We're scared of our own the very same things that we actually need to thrive and need to heal. So that is a huge part of Mass Liberation Project. And you will see that those things woven into all of the work that we do. We really try to return people to a state of Ubuntu, and also a state of just knowing, being connected with spirit, working with your ancestors, etc.
Give me some numbers. How many people have you all been able to bail out, let's say, in the last 12 months?
Um, I think in the last 12 months, we've bailed out about 20 people. We had a big uptick in 2020, obviously because of the uprising,
Yes.
where we really, I think we bailed out over 300 protesters, because they were arresting everyone. So we had like a lot of people we bailed out in 2020, and then it kind of tapered back down to where we're maybe about like 20 last year. And this year, we're aiming to bail out at least 10 Black moms. But again, like, we don't quantify our work in that way, where it's not about numbers, it's about impact, So I think that when you measure impact, you have to look at the people that are in your success stories, I guess you could say. So like, in terms of Black mamas, we bail out Black moms every year, and none of our Black mamas have like done any type of like reoffending that has led to prison. We have had some incidences where people get caught up again in the system because of like substance abuse and things of that nature. And that's the ebb and flow of the work, is like, we're still trying to like not dispose of people and support them in getting clean. But like, generally speaking, we have like a 90% success rate in terms of people not reoffending that we bail out and support, and like actually doing things in life that are transformative. Being, turning over new leaves in different career paths, being reconnected with healing practices that facilitate like their growth and spiritual development. We have people who have went from like literally bailing them out, hiring them to like do the work, the organizing work that we do,
Yes.
where they launched their own businesses. One of our very first Black mom we ever bailed out, she is a homeowner now. Like, she just bought a house last year. So it's not just freeing our people from cages, it's also freeing them from psychological barriers, and also learning a lot of things. We have like a credit class that's a part of our Black Mamas Fellowship this year. So things like, we're learning how to grow our own food. We're starting like a food sovereignty network where we're trading food with each other. So it's more than just posting a bail. So that's why I said it's not really about numbers for us. It's about the actual impact and growth that we're seeing in our own circle as it expands. So yeah.
Listen, you've been really gracious with your time. What would you like to leave our listening audience with?
I think, for one, just we're gearing up to free Black moms again. This is our 6th year doing this, and again, it's posting bails, but it's way deeper than just that. It is really like assessing, what do Black mamas need to thrive, and investing in those things. So that's kind of what we're building. We're going to have a fellowship this year where like I said, we're going to be growing food and creating a sovereign network of food trade amongst Black moms. And we're just so that we're able to always support our families no matter what, in terms of produce. And we're really trying to get into new territory. So definitely please tap in. Even if you can't donate, you can, support in other ways. You can mentor, you can, teach a skill. Like, there's a lot of ways in which you can help us. So we just definitely need community support. So that's kind of my parting ask, is that, just please tap in and support the work. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, or email me, and, just tap in and get engaged.
Spend a little bit more time on this freeing Black moms. That really sticks out to me. How long have you all done this? What's your success rate as far as that's concerned? Talk to me about freeing Black moms.
So Freeing Black Mamas is an initiative that we started 6 years ago, and it is a national initiative. You'll see that, Freeing Black Moms is something they're doing in Maryland, they're doing it in Philly, they're doing it in New York. And this concept actually started with the Black mama, obviously. Her name is Arissa. It was her idea. She conceptualized it. And then we came on and it was like a meeting and it was like, okay, let's get this going. So we've been bailing out Black moms here in Las Vegas for the past 6 years. This is our 6th year doing it. And again, I think we have like, in terms of a success rate, meaning people going back to prison, not one person we've bailed out has gone back to prison. We've had mamas that we've bailed out who, got bailed out on a case and have fought that case and ended up going to prison. But most of the time, the judges and the system is able to see that, okay, they're supported enough to where that they can be successful in the community. And that's what we've shown and that's what we've done. Every year we bail out about 10 Black moms and we just work really intentionally and in depth with them. And again, transformation, it's not just about beating your case. It's about like addressing whatever the circumstances were that led up to you catching that case and like making sure that, it doesn't happen again. In a way that really starts from the root, like what happened to you, like what's going on with you, and supporting in various ways, and everybody's support looks different, but all of it is valid. So I think that this year like I said, we're doing an actual fellowship, so it's going to be a year of building, and what we're trying to do is again start the food network, Black Mama's Food Network, where we're going to all be learning and growing food in our own space. So, some folks it's in their backyard, some people it's in their kitchen. So it looks different depending on, where people live, but starting just growing food for ourselves, learning how to do that, reconnecting with the land and the soil, and then also trading with each other, starting and understanding like, what does that look like? We're going to be looking at technology too, to play a part in this. We're going to be starting an actual blockchain where we're can expand this network internationally and nationally eventually. So and these are also concepts that we as Black people are very connected to, but that we don't necessarily have access to. So it's going to be a lot of learning and a lot of building going on over the next year. So that's kind of where we are with the Black Mamas bailout.
Leslie, I greatly admire the work that you do. Thank you so much for joining our show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all.
You've been listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be, and that's Keeping It 100.